Hey guys, it's Misty from the Book Rat, and it's time for the next shelf in my shelf by shelf tour. If you're just now stumbling upon the shelf by shelf tour, allow me to explain. I organize my books by the color of the spine. You can see the overview of that here. To give everyone a more detailed look at what is on the shelves, I'm doing each shelf as its own little episode. Today we're moving on to the 5th shelf, which is the darker green books. You are watching the long version in which I talk about the books, how I got them, what I think of them if I've read them. If you just want to see a really quick zip through of what books are on the shelf, just cover, name, and author, you can watch the quick version here. But if you're choosing to stick with me, settle in and let's get to it. Okay, so here is what the first green shelf looks like as a whole. Let's get into it. Entwined by Heather Dixon, and The Sweetest Spell by Suzanne Selfors. And here is the first stack. Loser by Jerry Spinelli. I had a friend who is a big Jerry Spinelli fan, so I got this one, figured I'd pick it up because she recommended him so highly, but I haven't read it yet. I, Coriander by Sally Gardner. This is a retelling of Cinderella that's set during Cromwell, England. It's really good. I did review this one for Fairy Tale Fortnight, I believe. I want to say a couple years ago. Definitely liked it. I did have some issues with it, but for the most part, the world building was phenomenal. Blood Promise by Rochelle Mead. I have all of this series. I've only read the first one though. A number of them I won, and so then I just bought the rest of them to kind of fill in the series because it seems silly not to. The Maze Runner by James Dashner. I don't remember if I won this one or bought it, but I haven't read it yet. I know it has just tons and tons and tons of fans, including my 13-year-old neighbor who's been pushing me to read it. First Day on Earth by Cecil Castellucci. This was just like a random unsolicited book that I got and hadn't heard of. It's really thin. I probably should have just went ahead and read it, but when I got it I was just too busy, and so I haven't read it yet, but I did hear really good things about it, and it sounds intriguing. Lies by Michael Grant. This is one of the Gone novels, and it's the only one I have, and it was just a really silly impulse buy. I got it when Borders was closing, and it was only like 40 or 50 cents, so it seemed silly not to, but I haven't read any of the books, and I don't have any of the other ones, so it's just been kind of sitting here on my shelves. Wilderness Tips, a book of stories by Margaret Atwood. I have said before, and I will say again, I am a huge Margaret Atwood fan, so she's a no-brainer when I see one of her books. Complete Grimm's Fairy Tales. I mean, this one's just self-explanatory. I am a fairy tale nut. I'm obsessed, so have to have a copy of Grimm's. Dead Reckoning by Mercedes Lackey and Rosemary Edgehill. I had a blog post by these two ladies and gave away a copy of this, and just having the blog post really made me want to read it. Star-Crossed by Elizabeth C. Bunce. I really loved this. It's the first in a series. The second one is called Liar's Moon, and I haven't read it yet. But yeah, I totally love this. I love Digger. I love the world. Really great start to a series, and I don't really see it talked about very often. So if you haven't read this, or A Curse Dark as Gold, which is also by Bunce, I would highly recommend them. So here is the middle. Little Children by Tom Perrotta. This was made into a movie not that long ago, and I really liked the movie, so I picked up a copy. Haven't read it yet, though. Shine by Lauren Miracle. This was one of those that I have this habit of buying things that I'm super excited for, and then once I have them, they just get stuck on a shelf, and I never pick them up. And part of it's because once I own something, I feel like, well, it's always going to be there, so I'll just get to it when I get to it, and then library books and review books take precedence, which is just silly, because then I'm not reading the things that I really want to read, just because I'm content in knowing that they're always going to be on my shelves. So this one I was really looking forward to a lot, like, pre-ordered it, had to have it, but I still have not read it. Soon. It's gotta happen soon. The Time Paradox by Owen Colfer. This is one of the Artemis Fowl series. I said before, when I showed one of his books, one of the Artemis Fowl books, that I love them all. I really just do. I love Artemis. I love a good anti-hero. The Reluctant Heiress by Ava Ibbotson, I'm not sure. I have a few books by her, and I haven't read any of them, and if I had to place this by cover, I would have never realized that it was on the green shelf, but it is. But yeah, I've heard really good things about her. I've bought a few, won a few, wishlisted a few, and just haven't read any of her yet. Spellfall by Catherine Roberts. I don't remember where I got this one. I think it was, we had this book warehouse in my town that sold like remainder books, and I used to spend all of my babysitting money there. So I think that I've had this one since then. So probably like 15 or 16. And I can't remember. I want to say that I read it and didn't like it as much as I had hoped to, but maybe I didn't finish it. I really don't remember now. Cross My Heart and Hope to Spy by Allie Carter. When I read Carter's Heist Society series, I really enjoyed it and liked her writing, so I figured I would go ahead and pick up her other series, which is really popular. So I just kind of kept an eye out for these to pop up pretty cheaply, and so I got the first 2 or 3 books, I believe, but I haven't read them yet. It's such a cute spine, though. What I Was by Meg Rosoff. I bought this after I read How I Live Now because How I Live Now floored me. I thought it was just fantastic and I wanted to read more by her, so I went immediately and bought this, but didn't have time when it came and haven't read it yet, but I am definitely looking forward to it. And I also want to get a copy of her new one, There Is No Dog. Sauvé by Celia Reese. I read Witch Child by Celia Reese and really liked it, and so I was kind of keeping an eye out for other books by her, and this one just kind of took my fancy. I thought that it sounded really good, and I really liked the cover, so I grabbed this when I found it for just a couple dollars, but I have not read it. Horns and Wrinkles by Joseph Helgerson. This one, I just fell in love with the cover and the title, and the synopsis. It just sounds really good, but basically I had to have it because of this. It's just, I don't know, it took over my brain. The name of this book is A Secret by Pseudonymous Bosch. This is really fun. It's middle grade, definitely a smarty pants book. If you know any smarty pants middle graders looking for something to read, I would definitely recommend this. Cracked Up to Be by Courtney Summers. I've talked about this before. I bought just about everything that Summers has written. I have not read one of them, but they all just sound really good, which is rare for me to say because I don't generally feel like I have to have contemporary or have to read it. The Vicious Deep by Zoraida Cordova. This isn't what the final cover looks like. This is the arc, of course. This was really good. I have reviewed this, so I'll leave a link below. Basically, really enjoyed it. Looking forward to the second book. It's fun having a sort of vicious mermaid tale with the main character actually being a merman rather than a mermaid. Cruel by Jennifer Albin. I have talked about this one before and I have reviewed it, so I'll leave a link below, but I was disappointed. I was really looking forward to this one, and it was probably one of my bigger letdowns of 2012, which is sad. This is the Redbound edition of Little Women by Louisa Malcott. I have a couple copies of this because I like it. Plus I'm a sucker for a good, pretty hardbound. Peter Pan by J.M. Barrie. I don't know why I didn't read this until I was an adult. I was maybe a teenager, but someone should have put this in my hands when I was a kid because it's so good. And having seen the cartoons in Hook and whatever else just isn't the same. This story is phenomenal. His writing is just magical. I really wish I would have read it as a kid, but I'm glad I read it as an adult because I loved it. And here is the last stack. Witch by Christopher Pike. I think that I've talked about this one before. This is my favorite Christopher Pike book. This still has a big hold on my heart. I have a huge soft spot for him in general, but especially this book. I had a copy when I was a kid and it fell completely apart from being read so much. So when I found this at a library book sale a couple years ago for a quarter, I snatched it up. Love it, love it, love it. Lord of the Flies by William Golding. This is one of those books that everyone seems to read in high school, but I did not. So when I got out of high school, I tracked down a copy and read it and loved it. I want to get a better copy than this because this one's really beat up. I think it's even been written in, so definitely want to get a pretty one. I don't know if there is a pretty one of Lord of the Flies, actually. The Great Short Works of Edgar Allan Poe. I am a big Poe fan. Have been since I was a kid. Like, what 9-year-old really would list her favorite story as The Fall of the House of Usher? I mean, that's not right, really. But I did. Tempest Legacy by Nicole Peeler. I'm not sure which one of the series this is. Oh, this is 3. I got this when Borders was closing. It was only a quarter. So I went ahead and picked it up, and I think I got one of the other ones, but I want to say it was 2, and that I'm still missing 1. So, have not read these. The Princess Bride by William Goldman. This is one of those books that I just had to have, and everyone I think that knows me agrees that I have to have it. but I haven't read it yet. But I am a huge, huge fan of the movie. One of these days I will get around to it. The Queen of the Damned by Anne Rice. Haven't read this, but I did like the movie. The Canterbury Tales by Geoffrey Chaucer, because I mean, at some point everyone's read this, right? Harry Potter and the Goblet of Fire by J.K. Rowling. I don't know what really needs to be said about this. Obviously, I love it. Wrapped by Jennifer Bradbury. This was a gift from Liz of Consumed by Book. It should maybe go on the blue shelf because it's a little more blue than it is green, but it's kind of got that teal thing going on. I had more space on my green shelf than blue, so that's where it ended up. Heart's Blood by Juliette Marillier. I am a huge Marillier fan. This one is sort of a Beauty and the Beast take, and it's very, very good. It has my little bunny Post-its sticking out because I'm a fan of tabs and my friends give me really cool ones. And then sitting in this corner, I have What Happened to Goodbye by Sarah Dessen, which I've never read. I've never read any Dessen. I know everyone loves her, but as I've said before, I don't read contemporary very often, but I won this from the Dustin Disco channel. Behemoth by Scott Westerfeld. I really loved Leviathan, so when I found this I had to pick it up. I haven't read it yet though, but I want to soon. Wolfsbane by Andrea Kramer. You may recall seeing this in one of my hauls. I got this and Blood Rose because I already had Nightshade. One of these days I will go ahead and finish out the series. And The Realm of Possibility by David Levithan, because so many people have pushed him on me, and there you have it. So that was it for this shelf. You can catch up on any of the colors that you've missed here, or you can watch the overview of all of my shelves here. Until next time, happy reading!